So you put on here why we root for the teams we do. Do you mean like you and me, or do you mean like let's discuss why human beings cheer for the teams that human beings cheer for?
I think specifically when I put it on here, I was thinking specifically like you and me, because like we talked about last week, you know, my teams are all over the world, all over the place. You're pretty much Detroit sports guy.
Pretty much now. Yep.
But in general, too, you know, I think why we root for the teams we root for, I think a lot of it is cultural identity, becomes part of your cultural identity. There's a lot of, like, I know very few people who are opposed to the use of the we in reference to the team. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like it's not just that the team won, it's we won, you know, we as the fan base, we as the city. So why, you know, but why do you choose the teams you chose? You know, is it the city you're from, the city you live in? Is it, you know, some weird reason that you had for choosing that team and it just kind of stuck? Is it, you know, have you switched teams several times throughout your sports fandom? And why?
Well, let's start there. Like, okay, because you and I have both switched allegiances at one point or another. Me more recently, just with football.
Yeah.
It's so looked down upon, I feel like, to change, to consciously change. I'm not a fan of this team anymore. I'm a fan of this team. Like, I'm making a conscious decision to switch. I feel like it's maybe less looked down upon if you move to that city. Like, if you're like if I left Detroit, which I will never do, and moved to Tampa, for me to become a Lightning fan would feel like somewhat natural because that's the team that's there. It's, you know, you get to go to the games, you get to see those things, you get to go to the events, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like it's looked down upon, and should it be? Do you think it should be looked down upon to like change teams?
I think it depends on who you change to and why. Because there are some people who, you know, they're going to change to, you know, in the 90s, we saw a bunch of Cowboys fans, you know, Dallas Cowboys fans. Like, all of a sudden, you know, you're from Seattle, you got the Seahawks, you know, and all of a sudden Emmitt Smith just became your favorite player overnight, and you're a huge Cowboys fan because they're actually winning and your team's not. You know, or in the early 2000s, you know, we all of a sudden Patriot bandwagon alert, you know. I think it depends on why you switch teams and who you switch to. Obviously, going from the 7-time champion Steelers to a Colts team that's won 2, you know, and isn't very good lately. Or for you being a, you know, becoming a Lions fan, you know, it's not like we jumped ship, you know, and the reason I had to just give up on the Steelers because they basically given up on themselves. I mean, they've looked at themselves over the last 8 or 9 years and said, you know what, 9-8, we're okay with sneaking in as a wild card team, maybe winning that playoff game, maybe not. We're okay with Mike Tomlin just basically being a ho-hum cheerleader at this point. Like, I feel like when he first came in as a coach, he was on fire. He was, you know, willing to call things like they were, willing to challenge the players. And now, like, over the last few seasons especially, he's just gotten to a point where it's like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to make excuses, but here's the excuses why we suck.
Right.
You know, and it's like, if you're not going to fire that guy after, you know, 6 consecutive just not good seasons, and you're not, and they're not drafting, like, they're not drafting replacement quarterback for Ben Roethlisberger, who wasn't even that. I mean, he was a good quarterback. Was he a Hall of Fame quarterback? No. You know, but when Mason Rudolph is the guy that you have waiting in the wings, and then you don't draft it, then they go out and get Kenny Pickett and don't even give him a chance.
Right.
And now bring in, Aaron Rodgers, because why not drag in somebody who is at the end of their career and also says really questionable things online?
Past the end of his career, I feel like maybe I'm very much overgeneralizing by the people that I know of in Western PA, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers kind of fits the culture there. Kind of feel like that. Kind of feels like it's like
I think weirdly enough, he'll fit in fine.
No offense to the Yinzers that are
but it's so like I
rely on science and whatnot.
I think it just depends on why you switch your team and who you switch to.
Right.
Like obviously the reason I picked the Colts for an NFL team to support, and like I've said before, I'm not huge into football, American football anymore. That's my home state, my hometown team, so why not?
And Alicia cheers for the Colts.
And my wife already has been cheering for them since she got off the Packers bandwagon in the 90s.
Really?
So she was a Packers
a Favre fan.
A Favre fan.
Okay.
And then became a Peyton Manning fan. And
of course. Peyton's awesome.
I mean, Peyton's made some equally questionable.
Oh, really?
Personal life choices that
right.
I mean, but
well, that sucks.
At this point, who hasn't? Right?
No, that's true.
I mean, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But I've changed hockey teams twice.
Who was it before? You're current Golden Knights fan.
Yeah.
Which I feel like you always get a pass if there's an expansion team in the city that you live in. You get to switch. You get to switch to that.
Yeah, you can take. Yeah,
nobody can say shit to you.
Yeah, and I have friends who live in Vegas who they're from Detroit, so they were Red Wings fans. But they became VGK. They're our second team. They're their second team.
They're bandwagon fans. Fuck those people.
They're
just kidding.
They also wanted to see winning hockey, so
I walked right into that one. False start at home.
So I think if you live in a city that gets an expansion team, you get a free pass to switch allegiances.
Houston and Atlanta, here you come.
So Houston, Atlanta. Is Quebec getting their team back?
No. Gary Bettman
they're
hates
talking
Canada.
about all this weird, expansion
Gary Bettman hates
stuff.
Canada.
Yeah.
He only wants Sunbelt teams.
When I first started watching hockey, getting into hockey, we lived in the Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
Lemieux and Yager were on the team. The Pittsburgh Penguins were winning. So I became a Penguins fan. Then we moved to Ohio. I kind of this was back before you could watch hockey outside of your market. So it was a little difficult to follow the Penguins still. And then I liked Patrick Waugh as a goaltender.
Makes me want to vomit.
So I kind of hopped on the Colorado Avalanche. I did hop on that bandwagon because that was when they started getting hot, when they had Sakic and
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. But then when we moved to Vegas, I kind of just didn't watch hockey as much. I would watch if there was a national broadcast on every once in a while, but there wasn't, nightly hockey on. And then when they announced that we were getting a franchise, we went to the naming ceremony, went to, preseason games, got all the merch, went all in on that. And now that we live
nice.
And now that we live in Columbus, we're like, we'll go watch when the VGK come to town. But I'm not getting Blue Jacket season tickets.
Don't they just give them away?
No, they're
Blue
actually
Jackets,
quite.
like,
They're actually
do they
quite
actually charge?
expensive.
Oh, are they really?
Oh yeah, they're.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep sending me emails. They want me to. They want me to come. Like, nah, just give me a single game ticket. So
okay, so you're VGK,
Yeah.
Colts. You said you're a Pacers fan.
Pacers.
Okay. I actually was trying to remember what your basketball team was, because for some reason, were you a Suns fan at some point? I remember growing up, you had a Shaq poster and you had a Barkley poster, right?
No, not Shaq.
I thought you had a Shaq poster.
I don't think I had a Shaq poster.
You had. I remember in our bedroom a Shaq Orlando Magic Shaq poster.
Maybe I did. I know for sure I had a Charles Barkley poster, at least one, if not more than one.
Okay.
Loved Charles Barkley. He was my hero.
Okay.
My love for Charles Barkley started when he made that Nike commercial where he said, "I'm not a role model."
Okay. That just spoke to you.
I was like, that's my role model.
That's my role model.
Literally, like I saw Charles Barkley. He's like, I am not a role model. Parents should be role models. And I was like, you're my role model, Chuck. And so I became a huge fan of the round mound of rebound. And so, yeah, when he moved to Phoenix then, because he was with the 76ers when he made that commercial.
Right.
Because he had to do it because he spit on a fan. And so they basically Nike,
like, if you still want this endorsement money.
So Nike basically was like, dude, you can't spit on fans even if it is Philly. And because I feel like in Philly you should get a pass for spitting on
fans.
Like,
I feel like Philly fans
can
kind of
throw
invite
things
that.
and spit at you, you should be able to give it back.
They kind of want that. Like,
yeah.
So
Barkley went to Phoenix. And then at the time he was in Phoenix, I think was like right around Grandma and Grandpa moved to Phoenix.
Right.
So we sort of had a Phoenix connection, and Uncle Jim and Aunt Angela live out there.
Yep.
So we had like a little desert connection. So I became a Suns fan for quite a while.
Yeah. Plus they had some cool ass jerseys. Like, you can't like look at the Suns logo on that purple jersey. Like I remember getting a Suns hat that I think I still have. And I was like, this just feels good. Like, so
that was, but I was still a Pacers fan growing up too, because I was from Indiana. I was always proud of my Hoosier heritage.
Reggie Miller?
Grew up, watching Reggie Miller, Rick Smits, Mark Jackson, all the guys. Some of my favorite memories from NBA playoffs were the Knicks Pacers series in the late 90s. Just so when when Charles Barkley moved on to Houston, I was like, I can't like Houston. Like, no, they're not that good for one guy. So I kind of went back to the Pacers full time. Basically at that point. And I'll be honest, I don't really watch a lot of basketball because of the LeBron era being very grating to watch.
Okay. We'll have to get into that on a future episode.
Yeah, it can be discussed on a future episode, but it just, a lot of this era of basketball has really kind of just maybe not want to watch basketball too much.
Yeah.
Just, it's not as, the game's changed.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that for today.
Okay.
But I mean, when my Pacers got in the playoffs the last couple of years, we've been on board, watching.
They made a good run.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
They didn't win this year, right?
No, stretch your Achilles, guys. Halliburton tore his Achilles in the in Game 7, and that pretty much took the Pacers out of it, and then they ended up losing the game by like 40 points. It was bad.
Geez.
Yeah.
I was watching for a little bit, and then I kind of tuned it out because of just watching hockey. You gotta like choose at that point, and in the year, it's like I can't,
I chose basketball because it was my team,
right.
And in hockey I was just like, dude, if I have to look at Matthew Tkachuk one more time, like
chewing that mouth guard.
I hate that. I feel like they need to make that a penalty. Can we make chewing the mouth guard a penalty?
Yeah,
because why do you have it if you're not using it?
Yeah.
It becomes more of a danger to you, and it's disgusting.
It's gross.
Biologically,
it's pretty gross.
I mean, Brad Marchand licking a guy was less disgusting because at least there it's like he licked one guy. Tkachuk, it's like that's stuff's flying everywhere while he's chewing on a damn thing, skating up and down the ice, like
skating like 25 miles an hour,
spit flying out of. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Have some respect for your fellow players. So
the Dodgers. Why are you a Dodgers fan?
The Dodgers. Now that's an interesting one.
Because you've always been a Dodgers fan. Because I
have always been a Dodgers fan as long as I've been a baseball fan. My first baseball game that I went to, though, was in Pittsburgh. Aunt and uncle that lived in the area, they took me to Pirates game. And that was back when they had Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla, Andy Van Slyke.
Was this when Leland was their manager?
Leland was the manager, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So that was my very first baseball game. Was a Pirates game. And I don't really remember a whole lot from it because it was at Three Rivers Stadium. So you couldn't see most of the field action anyway. Because, in the 1970s, they were like, let's just make a big circle and put all of our teams in that stadium. And so the sight lines were terrible. I don't remember it being a very good game. The only thing I remember was that two drunk guys got into a fist fight and one of them got knocked out, hit his head on the steps. That was my intro to a baseball game. So I didn't really watch a whole lot of baseball after that for a while. I don't know if I was traumatized or what. But I really started getting into baseball then in middle school. We moved to Ohio, and this was my fourth or fifth new school in 4 or 5 years. So I was desperately trying to fit in and find my acceptance,
Sure.
My homeroom teacher, Mr. Wanamaker, had a LA Dodgers pennant on his wall because he was apparently a Dodgers fan. And so I was like, well, being the little brown nosing sixth grader that I am, why not? And then also at the time, Saved by the Bell was big. And that takes place in the LA area. And so Zach Morris was always skipping school to go to Dodgers playoff games. And I thought that was cool. That's one of my favorite episodes is when Zach, so they could never do this episode today. So Zach pretends he's Jewish so that he can get out of school for Rosh Hashanah. But it happens to be the Dodgers are in the playoffs. And so he had tickets to this Dodgers game. And so he went to that. Well, Slater had recorded the game. And when he was watching the game back, he saw Zach catch a foul ball.
Oh my gosh.
And so he blackmailed Zach the next day.
Oh my gosh. You have no expectation of privacy at the game.
He blackmailed Zach Morris. He's like,
wow.
And the way he did it was really funny because he goes in, he's like, so Zach, how was the synagogue yesterday or temple or whatever? And Zach's trying to, bullshit his way through how great it was. And Slater's like, yeah, I saw you catch that foul ball off of Rabbi Strawberry's bat. And then he basically extorts Zach Morris for like
Wow.
whatever he want. I don't know if he wanted to date Jesse at the time or what, but
What a storyline.
So that's when I started to get into the Dodgers. And then when they had Tommy Lasorda, who was a great manager, Mike Piazza came up as a catcher in the organization, and I really liked him. A lot of the players from the 90s, just really liked them, the way that they played. And then when we moved to Vegas, the Dodgers were actually our local broadcast team.
Okay.
On our cable system, so we actually got to watch the Dodgers like every day out there. So I've been able, basically for the last like 20-ish years, I've been able to watch the Dodgers every day, thanks to either the cable system or now MLB Direct, whatever the hell the MLB one's called.
Right.
I have the
MLB
app,
TV or something like that.
MLB TV, yeah. So, and then all-time great Dodgers. Jackie Robinson, the Dodgers were the team that broke the color barrier.
Okay.
And I'm a huge history fan, and huge anti-racism fan. So that kind of spoke to me. And then also Vin Scully, the great announcer. He was a one-man show. He could call a baseball game and do color commentary and in-game stories and all that. I mean, he did everything by himself.
Crazy.
And they will never replace him. Like now they have to have 2 or 3 people in the booth.
Right.
Vin did everything and he was the greatest. So
that's awesome.
But that's my story on the Dodgers. So a little bit of, started out as a little bit of a brown.
So Mr. Wanamaker.
Yeah, Mr. Wanamaker.
Good teacher, I'm assuming. Or hit or miss.
I don't really remember.
We shouldn't.
I'll be honest, but
Call him out right now. No, he sucked.
He might be. I'm sure he's past retirement now. So.
Yeah, true. That was a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah.
So then, okay, so we've covered NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and I know you've got Premier League, but do you have any other ones besides? Like, do you follow any other sports besides those 5?
Not really. It's hard to like follow a lot of sports,
right?
And I honestly do not have a soccer team in America that I follow. I guess if I were to choose, I might go with the Indy 11, who are in the USL, mainly again because of hometown connection, and because living in Columbus, the team's owned by the Haslams and they have their own set of issues.
Oh, geez.
So I could never root for them. But no, I mostly just watch Everton in the Premier League. That's who I root for over there. And that started because when I worked at the chapel in Vegas, like half of our clientele came from the UK.
Wow.
And so the soccer season starts in like August and basically runs through May. And so that's a good chunk of the year.
Right.
And you'd have these guys getting married, like their club is playing on this Saturday, like they're giving up football to get married. It was interesting because, like, you're in America, like men don't really have to make that choice because American football is mostly played on Sundays. So it was, like there was no analog to that really.
There's no, There's no, I can't watch my team and, oh, I have to get married this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta miss week
and
17.
they're like diehard, like the football fans in England are really into the game.
So why not just come over and get married on like a Wednesday?
A lot of them did.
Okay.
But they play games all throughout the week too. So like once their season gets going, they're playing games Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, depending on what European competitions they're in. They may be playing on Tuesdays or Thursdays as well. So, I mean, it's like over there, like we were talking about this last week with hockey, 3 games a week or whatever. Over there, sometimes they're, depending on what competitions they're in, they may be playing 3 or 4 games in a week.
Oh, okay.
Depending on time of season. So, but I got into the Premier League just as a way to kind of make conversation.
Oh,
with,
okay.
With clients, because, they're sitting there talking about football and I'm like, well, nobody got hit. What, what football, and then I started getting into it, started watching a little bit. And I was like, this is actually like, I think a lot of Americans' animosity towards soccer is because we're indoctrinated to like American football, and see American football as a superior sport of physical, like, excellence or whatever. Which is not true, because first of all, American football is only 60 minutes and it's played in 4 15-minute quarters where there's stoppages in play and you get to go on and off the field whenever.
Right.
Soccer, football around the world is a 90-minute match. You play 45 plus whatever time the referee feels like he needs to add in the first half. You have a 10-minute halftime, and then you come back out and play another 45 plus whatever the ref needs to add. And if you go off, you don't get to come back in. And you're running up and down a field that's the same width, a little bit wider and depending a little bit longer than an American football field. You're constantly running up. So like the cardio strain on those guys and the mental strain, because you don't really get to stop and take plays off, because if the ball's coming in your area, you've got to be paying attention. So I started watching Premier League football on Saturday mornings before I would go to work, just so I would kind of have something to talk about in case I had a British couple that day. And Everton was playing. I don't remember who they were playing, but anyway, in European football, they all have sponsors on the front of their shirt. And then they have, in the Premier League, they have a sponsor on one of their sleeves. And at the time, the sponsor on the sleeve for Everton was Angry Birds. And that was my favorite, mobile game.
Oh, I remember.
I mean, I couldn't do anything. Like, I had to play Angry Birds. Like, I still play Angry Birds.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, I had every version of Angry Birds on
my
mobile device, and I played it like incessantly. So they had Angry Birds on their sleeve, and I was like, oh, that's got to be my club now,
Wow.
And they weren't that great. So, it wasn't like picking Chelsea or Arsenal or Man City. It was like
You're choosing the underdog.
They were a good enough team to stay in the Premier League.
Right.
But they weren't top 5, top 6 team year after year. So I felt fairly comfortable picking them.
Okay.
And then just kind of stuck with them. Like, it becomes one of those things, like, even though Angry Birds isn't the sleeve sponsor anymore, it's like you kind of have gotten to know some of the players on the squad. Like, you've learned about them and learned about the management and ownership and all that, and you feel a little more connected. So you just kind of stay. And the history,
Nice.
Again, the history, one of the oldest clubs in the country of England, one of the founding members of the Football Association. So
Okay.
kind of goes back to that
Nice.
like historic element.
What was the front of the jersey sponsor?
Oh,
Front of the kit, I guess I
let's
should
see.
say.
So the front of shirt sponsor back then was, oh man, because I think it's called Kazoo, Cazoo. It was like Carvana in England, basically.
Oh, okay.
Like so
A
it was
car
like
vending machine?
a car. Oh, I don't think they could have a vending machine, but it was either like a Carvana or like a car, like cars.com kind of thing, like car research. It had something to do with automobiles. Can't remember exactly. Now it's a gambling sponsorship.
Of course it is.
Which we're going to talk about that on a future episode.
Oh yes.
That'll be a nice deep dive.
Oh yes.
For sure. So next year, so starting in 2026, the Premier League has banned gambling sponsors from being primary shirt sponsors. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
the UK
more
takes sports betting a little bit more seriously, I feel like, than the US. I was doing a little bit of research like a year or so ago on it, just because I was very curious. I was finding out that the UK really, like, it's a lot more. They have a lot more regulations in place than we do in the US, for sure.
Well,
I think.
I don't know if they have
from what
more.
I remember vaguely.
I think they're a lot. I think they're a lot more established, and so it's not like the Wild West, like it is here. I mean, obviously, when we do our gambling episode deep dive, we'll get into that. But
right,
yeah,
all right. And you're going to an Everton match, right?
Yeah. So next week, the Premier League Summer Series coming to America. They start in New York City, New Jersey, whatever, MetLife Stadium.
Okay.
And then in Chicago on the 28th July, we will be there at Soldier Field to watch Everton take on West Ham.
Very cool.
And we get to see a doubleheader.
Ooh.
So see Man United also take on Bournemouth AFC.
Nice.
Fun fact about Bournemouth AFC: they were recently purchased by Robert Foley, who owns the VGK.
Right. Okay.
So I had to briefly think about: do I switch allegiance from Everton to Bournemouth? But then I was like, not really.
No.
No.
Fuck the owners. That's
well,
kind of my stance.
My thought was more, I've already suffered enough with Everton. I don't want a club that's going to get relegated.
Then you got to figure out how to watch the games. That's a whole other.
So those are my sports teams.
All right.
So Detroit, because I know you came of age in Detroit.
I came of age in Detroit. Yeah, I always say I grew up in Detroit. It's like, from age 10 to 16, 15, 16. Almost 16 lived here, and never really watched any of the other sports growing up. Like, it was mainly football because that's what you could get over the airwaves.
Yeah.
Every Sunday reliably, and especially like our family being from Western PA, being Steelers fans. The Steelers were on TV a lot, and so you could watch a lot of Steelers games. So that was pretty easy. And then being a Penn State fan, college football, being in the Big Ten, you're kind of still in. We were like within, kind of halfway between Ohio State and University of Michigan. So you're kind of catching both of those teams. You're definitely in Big Ten territory. And so we were able to watch Penn State games fairly regularly, I feel like, especially when it comes to the bowl season, when they made a bowl. But moved to Detroit. let's see. I'm trying to think. So we moved to Detroit in 99. In March of 2000, somebody in our church took me to a Red Wings game. Was a season ticket holder. Took me to a Red Wings game on a Sunday afternoon. We played the Rangers. Joe Louis Arena. I'm pretty sure we're in lower bowl. There's not a bad seat in Joe Louis Arena unless you're like up in the corners.
Well, there is now, 'cause
there is now because it's gone.
they're all torn down.
I keep seeing Joe Louis Arena seats on Facebook Marketplace sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I need to buy some of those. I need those.
Yeah, I would
you got
question the.
Deep clean. I mean, you got to give them a.
I
deep
would
clean.
question the authenticity, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. You got to get it. You got to get a little bit of.
You got to make sure that came with the certificate.
Right. Yeah. But we won that game 8-2. So the Wings scored 8 goals. Marty Lapointe had a hat trick.
I was going to say, any Habbies?
It was like the perfect. I don't know if there were any fights or not, but it was like the perfect first live hockey game to go to as a kid. And I'm like 10 years old, and I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm in on hockey. I didn't know anybody that was that big into hockey at that time. And so I still didn't really watch games or anything like that. I was more interested in just like playing whatever. Mm-hmm. But then it was the 0-2 playoff run when the Wings won the Stanley Cup. That really sold me. And it was the Avs series.
Yeah.
So I was, kind of vaguely paying attention, it's toward the end of the school year, the first round. They go down. They win the President's Trophy, so they win the regular season. It's basically an all-star team. 11 players from that team so far have been inducted in the Hall of Fame. There's going to be more. And so it's the first round. We go down 0-2 versus the Canucks. Everybody's talking about like, oh, the Wings are going to get swept by the Canucks, like, the 8th seed. Nicholas Lidstrom, game 3, hits a goal from center ice and like just takes a slap shot, scores a goal, and it just rallies the team. They turn it around. They basically win the next 4 games against Vancouver. They beat St. Louis, I think, in like 4 or 5 games in the next series. And then it's a Western Conference final. The Avs are the defending Stanley Cup champion.
Yep.
The Avs and Red Wings have had bad blood since like 96. Going back to like Fight Night at the Joe, all the stuff leading up to that. And so this series is going to be, these are the 2 best teams in the league. Like whoever wins this series wins the Stanley Cup.
Winning the cup. Yeah.
And so I'm watching these games. It's just like, this is the best hockey I've ever seen to this point still. And so it's the peak was at the beginning, I guess.
Those like 3 or 4 years back then, those were like peak hockey.
Crazy. And you're watching literally, like you were saying, like Sakic, Forsberg, Waugh are going up against like Yzerman, Fedorov, Brett Hull, Dominik Hasek. Like it's like you've got like Pavel Datsyuk playing on the 4th line. Like that's how stacked this team was. It's his rookie season.
That was his rookie year.
It was his rookie year. Yeah. So just absolutely crazy. And then I'm pretty sure this is rookie year. I think it was. Man, if that's wrong, I'm gonna just give me so much hate in the comments.
That's okay.
But so then we get to whatever it is, game 6, and we're down 3-2 in the series. Like the Avs have us. We have home ice advantage. So game 6 is in Colorado. I'm like, shit, like here it goes. I'm pretty sure that's the game that Darren McCarty scores a hat trick, is in game 6 on the road. Grindliner Darren McCarty scores a hat trick. It's like the guy that's not supposed to score a hat trick against the living legend, Patrick Waugh. Barf. And that gives us the juice. We're going back. It's coming back to the Joe, game 7. We obliterated the Avs, shut them out 7-0, chased Waugh. And so I was like, it was like a thing in Detroit at the time. Everybody's like setting off their car alarm every time the Wings scored a goal. Because everybody in this city is like following this team at that time. Like this is like the team, the city's team. And so I remember just like dad's out back, like building steps on our deck. And I'm like running and grabbing the keys of the van every time and like setting off this alarm. And he finally comes in. He's like, "Are they really scoring this many goals?" Like, I was like, "Yes, this is, I'm only setting off the alarm every time they score a goal." He's like, "All right, you got to cut it out at some point." So we won 7-0.
I'm surprised he even knew that's why you were doing it.
Oh yeah. I had to explain. I had to explain like,
hey,
what the deal
Dad,
was.
I have to do this,
this is
the Avalanche will come back and win.
Exactly, superstition. Yeah. So I was sold from that time on. I was like, I am hockey full steam ahead. Like hockey's my entire life and identity. I'm gonna play in the NHL. I'm gonna figure out a way to like start playing hockey at the age of 12 or whatever I was. And everybody kept telling me like, yeah, you're not gonna make the NHL, and I should have listened to them. But you gotta have dreams, you know, kids.
Yeah.
Keep your dreams alive. Don't let the haters. And you know what? Honestly, looking back, it's like I wish somebody. I don't wish because I have no interest in actually playing professional hockey. I enjoy the way my life has turned out, but it's like if somebody's 12 years old and they start playing hockey, instead of being like, "No, you've missed the boat," I wish people would be like, "Yeah, all right. Here's what you need to do, though. Like, here's the way you need to train your body, train mentally. Like if you really want to make an effort to try to get even a scholarship to college playing hockey, here are the things you need to do. Like you need to be training every day, eating these kind of, this kind of diet, that sort of thing." Anyways, that's a digression, but I was a Red Wings fan from then on, and just absolutely, love hockey in general. And then it was a good time to be a Detroit sports fan because, sort of, because the Pistons were also awesome at this time. And so the Pistons, it was like the Bad Boys Part 2. And you've got Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, you've got Rasheed Wallace, Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace. So and then they won, let's see. They won the title in like what, 05? I think it was. Not 01. They made the finals or made the conference finals in like 03. But they were always kind of pushing. It was like the Celtics were really good at that time too. Pacers were really good at that time too. Who else in the East? The Nets, Bulls, I think, were good.
Nets. The Bulls were starting to fall off, but the Nets, the Nets were good.
Yeah. So I got into basketball then too, around the same time. And then, like I said, I think I said this on the last episode. The Tigers, I love the Tigers so much. The Tigers were so bad. And the Tigers, a lot of people always, forget because the Tigers have actually won the World Series a couple times, that the Tigers were like as pitiful as the Lions for a very long time. And so just the like laughing stock of their league, just never really making any sort of effort. And which is kind of funny because the owner, Mike Ilitch, played baseball, loved baseball. And so it's interesting that like the hockey team was able to make it because he owns the hockey team too. And the baseball team never, got anything going until like the mid-aughts. But 2003, they're pitiful. I think this is the year that we got, what was his name? Pudge, the catcher.
Yeah.
And it was either this year or the following year that we got him. And it comes down to the final game of the season. I will never forget this. I'm at my friend Frankie's house and we're watching this game. And they win the game. And I'm pretty sure it was a walk-off. They win the game and they're celebrating like they just won the World Series. And it's because they're celebrating so hard because, and I got to go and fact check myself on this, but they're celebrating so hard because they won the game to avoid setting the record for most losses in a season. So instead of setting the record, they just stayed at tying the record for worst season in MLB history. I think it's been eclipsed.
Have that record though.
What's that?
I'd rather have the record than be tied for the record if it's that record. You know,
of most losses in a season.
Yeah. Like, why do you want to be tied with somebody else for the most losses when you could have the most losses?
If you ain't first, you're last. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. But
I was basically like, this is my team. It was very much like Charles Barkley for you. Like, okay, these guys suck, and they are proud of just being terrible. And that is my team. I love them. So, and then Detroit, honestly, within a couple of years, they were like, I mean, it was only a couple of years after that, they're in the World Series. And like, you know, you've got Verlander, you've got Scherzer, you've got like all of these like really good players on the team. I'm not going to mention Prince Fielder in that group. Signs like the biggest MLB contract to that point, and then just sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tigers fan, and then recently just kind of decided, you know what? Like I mentioned, I think either the last episode or when our episode 0 that we'll have to release at some point. That I just stopped watching the NFL. I was like at a point where I was watching, you know, I had NFL Sunday Ticket. I was watching, you know, games all day Sunday. I would watch every Thursday night game. I was watching the Monday night games. I was playing fantasy football. I'm like, you know, really kind of keeping track on all this stuff. And it just was like, 1, it just got a little too much. 2, it just was like, they really don't care about the injuries and how like brutal this sport is with like, it started to become like the majority of the games I would watch, there was like a career ending injury in that game. And it was like intentional. Like the guys that are playing this sport are like out for blood and trying to hit the other player. So, like, I'm not just trying to like wrap you up and make a tackle and make the play to win the game. I'm trying to like cause bodily harm to you. And it just got to a point where it was like, I don't have interest in like watching somebody run, you know, 15 miles an hour into somebody just to like blow their helmet off when they very easily could have still made the play that they needed to make. And I know hockey's violent, like hockey is, you know, just as can be just as brutal, but it doesn't feel like there's with most players, the intentionality of like, I'm trying to injure you. I'm trying to end your game, end your career, like not just beat you, but destroy you, like take you apart. So I really stopped watching football for a while. I also kind of got just like disillusioned with the Steelers in general. I don't know, just all the decisions they're making, the whole Ben Roethlisberger era. Just the more I kind of became aware of like his whole thing, we could get into that. Could be a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It just was really like, okay, there was a lot of stuff here that was like either just kind of brushed under the rug or intentionally kind of covered up or suppressed, just because we feel like we've got this franchise quarterback or whatever. And that didn't sit well with me. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm kind of done. I'm done with this whole thing. And so just recently, like I always watch a Super Bowl. I think it's just sort of like a cultural thing. It's a cultural event. It's like watching the Oscars or, you know, whatever. Like you just kind of want to watch just to be aware of like what's going on. See the commercials. Yeah. It's a fun thing.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah. So it's one of those markers of time, you know, it's like, it's early February, watching the Super Bowl. And so over the last couple of years with the Lions being successful, that's been a lot of fun because I've always considered the Lions like my NFC team.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm watching them since they're like 2-14, 0-16 kind of days. And so it's always been just kind of funny to watch. I mean, I've been watching the Lions since like Barry Sanders, but it's always just been kind of funny to just be like, the Lions, you know. And now that they're kind of successful, it's like, oh, okay, all right, this is, you know, fun. And they watching Lions games, like, it actually feels fun again. Like, football feels kind of like fun. It feels like these guys are having fun. It doesn't feel like they're like just like trying to exercise their demons or something. Like, they all seem like they're having fun together. They're playing a game. They're trying to win. They're being a little bit goofy. Like, I love Dan Campbell. And so, yeah, I kind of just decided over the last little bit, like, you know what, maybe I'm just going to switch my allegiance. It's easier. I live in Detroit. So, you know, local team, everything's kind of, you know, the same. So yeah, I think I covered all of the sports, right?
Yeah. You don't follow any soccer, football?
A couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I'm going to get into Premier League because I knew some people that also watched soccer, were really into soccer. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just choose a team and go with it. And so I was looking through trying to decide, like, I was like, I'm going to choose like a mid-tier team, like somebody who's like not going to get relegated, but, you know, has some room for improvement. I can kind of cheer him on and feel like I'm part of like the rise, you know. I'm not like jumping on a bandwagon. Like, I don't want to choose like Man City, you know.
Yeah.
And jump in on a bandwagon there or whatever. And so I chose Leicester City. And like,
was that the year they were the 5,000 to 1?
It was actually
cost me I should have just bet on them.
I think it was like 2 years after that I started watching, and then whenever the timeline is, I don't know, because it was COVID and everything, but I like the year after I started like kind of following them and keeping track. I didn't watch a whole lot of matches, and then they get relegated. I was like, well, all right, I'm done.
They made it back, and then they just got relegated at the end of this past season. I think it was right around the time that they were the 5,000 to 1 long shot, and they won the Premier League championship. That's when I started like taking more of an interest in Premier League soccer, because I was like, okay, what, like, and we'll get into this when we do our soccer episode, but it's like, this would never happen in America. Like, you would never have a team just like, this is our first year in the league and we're winning the whole thing.
Right.
You know, straight up, you know, and then the thing too with like Leicester City is like, fails to elaborate, you know, and then just kind of sailed off after a couple of years and did get relegated. I think they've been like back and forth a couple of times since then. Yeah. You know, it's like, man, dude, American sports sucks because we don't have that. Like, we need that. Right. In American sports. Like, we
it would make it so much more interesting.
It would so much more interesting. It would make life in America so much more interesting to like see a city go from
the like Toledo Mud Hens. The Toledo Mud Hens join the MLB, fucking win the World Series. Yeah. And then they're just like, bye, I'm out. Yeah. Back to the AAA.
Like, I don't know if it would work in baseball because of the farm system like that.
Right.
That's like you wouldn't be able to do it in all sports, but because of affiliates, like hockey, you wouldn't be able to do it in because of affiliates. You know, we could definitely do it in American football. We could definitely do it in the NBA. You know, have promotion relegation system. I think it would be hilarious to see like a club, like, let's say New York City, you know, the Giants, like they have a bad season and all of a sudden they're not in the NFL anymore. You know, they're in NFL 2. Right. You know, like the egos of those people would just be like, man, we're the lower league, you know, and if they continue to slide, like, anyway, that's a big, long digression. But yeah, that's, Why do you root for the teams you root for? You know, what do sports give us in general? I think is a sense of community, a sense of belonging.
For sure.
They bring people together.